The message came in at 6:47 on a Tuesday morning. Caroline Ashby was standing in her kitchen in her robe, one hand wrapped around a coffee mug, the other scrolling through her phone out of habit. The same mindless loop she did every morning while the espresso cooled. News, weather, Instagram, back to news. She wasn't really reading anything. She was just waiting for the day to start. Then she saw it. Reposted by someone she barely knew from her gym, a woman named Patrice, who mainly posted about her cats and meal prep Sundays. Not the kind of account that normally stopped Caroline mid-scroll. But the image did. It was a hotel room, expensive. The kind with high ceilings and floor-to-ceiling drapes that pooled on the floor, and a bed dressed in white linen so thick it looked like a cloud. And in the center of it all, smiling at the camera with one knee bent, was a woman Caroline had never seen before. The caption read, "Finally somewhere I belong." Hotel life almost kept going she would have, except for the lamp on the nightstand. Brass. Art Deco. A curve at the base that she recognized because she had picked it out herself at a small shop in Charleston 3 years ago. She had wrapped it in a sweater to get it home safely on the plane. She set her mug down on the counter, very carefully. She looked at the image again. The lamp, the nightstand, the particular grain of the headboard, the view from the window in the background, the water tower, the angle of the morning light, the exact shape of the skyline that she had looked at from that same window on her last birthday. That was her hotel room. The room she and her husband, Preston Ashby, had kept as their anniversary tradition for 11 years. The same suite at the same hotel every October. The one Preston always claimed to book himself because it was his thing for her. His romantic gesture, his yearly proof that he still tried. Caroline picked up her coffee. She drank it slowly. She read the caption again. "Finally somewhere I belong," she thought. "I need to find out who this is." It took her 40 minutes, and it was not difficult. The woman's name was Brooke Dalton, 29 years old, event coordinator at a company that had done work with Preston's architecture firm 18 months ago. Her Instagram was public. Her LinkedIn was professional and bland. Her TikTok, which Caroline found by accident, was neither. Brooke had not tagged Preston. She had not named the hotel. She had not written anything incriminating in any of her posts. She was careful in the way people are careful when they know exactly what they're doing and have thought about what not to say. But she had not thought about the lamp. She sat at the kitchen island for a long time. Through the window, the neighborhood was starting to wake up. A jogger, a dog walker, the sound of a school bus somewhere a few streets over. Their daughter, Lily, was 8. She was still asleep upstairs. She slept hard, always had, in the boneless way of children who feel completely safe. Their son, Owen, was 11. He had a soccer game that Saturday. He had already asked Caroline twice if she was coming. She sat with that for a while. Then she went upstairs, showered, got dressed, and drove both kids to school. She kissed them at the drop-off door. She told Owen she would absolutely be at his game. She told Lily her backpack was unzipped and helped her fix it. She watched them walk through the doors. Then she drove to her office, sat down at her desk, and began very quietly to think. Caroline worked in marketing. She had built her own small agency from a 2-person operation 12 years ago into a firm with 14 employees that handled campaigns for regional businesses, nonprofits, a few mid-size brands. She was not famous. She was not powerful in the way people write about. But she understood audiences. She understood how messages travel. She understood the difference between a moment that flares and fades and a moment that sticks. Her best friend and business partner, Rita Okafor, knocked on her office door at 9:30. "You look like you didn't sleep," Rita said. "I slept fine," Caroline said. "Close the door." Rita closed the door. Caroline told her everything. She showed her the Instagram post. She showed her Brooke's profile. She showed her the lamp. Rita sat down. She was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Preston's been in that hotel with her?" "Yes." "How long do you think?" "I don't know. Long enough that she feels comfortable posting about it." Rita looked at the photo again. "She's not hiding it. She's not naming names either," Caroline said. "She's doing that thing where you're not technically saying anything, but you know who you're talking to and you know they'll see it. You think she knows you'd see it?" Caroline thought about that. "I think she doesn't care." That was the part that sat in her chest like a stone. Not the betrayal alone, though that was enormous, and she knew she would have to feel all of it eventually, the full weight of 11 years rearranging itself around a lie. But the specific quality of Brooke's carelessness, the ease of that smile. Finally somewhere I belong, as if the only thing that mattered in that hotel room was how she felt, as if Caroline had never been there at all. She didn't confront Preston that night, or the next. She went through the motions of their evenings with a steadiness that surprised even herself. Dinner, homework, the kids' bath routine, a conversation with Preston about a project he was working on, a question he asked her about her week. She answered. She smiled where smiling was called for. She was not ready. And she had learned in 12 years of marriage and 14 years of running a business that the timing of a difficult conversation matters as much as the conversation itself. She also wanted to be sure. She spent a week being sure. A forensic accountant friend of a friend, someone Rita knew from a previous client matter, helped her trace 2 years of credit card statements that Preston paid from a separate account she had never had full visibility into. She had not known the account existed. He had opened it 4 years ago, the same year Brooke Dalton's company began doing work with his firm. The hotel suite, twice a year, sometimes 3 times. The kind of restaurants Caroline had never been to with him. A jewelry purchase from a boutique she found online that did custom work. She took the statements. She filed them carefully, she breathed. Then she called a lawyer. His name was Raymond Chu, and he came recommended as one of the best family law attorneys in the state. He was 62 years old, methodical, and almost entirely without sentiment, which was exactly what Caroline needed. She sat in his office and laid out what she knew, and Raymond Chu listened the way surgeons listen, attending to the shape of the problem, not the pain of it. "Do you want to end the marriage?" he asked. She said. "But I want to do it correctly. Define correctly. I want Lily and Owen to be protected. I want the settlement to reflect what I contributed to this marriage, financially and otherwise. I want it to be clean." Raymond Chu wrote something in his notepad. "And what about the other party?" Caroline was quiet for a moment. "I haven't decided yet." He glanced up. "Meaning?" "Meaning," she said. "That depends on whether she keeps posting." Brooke kept posting. 3 weeks after the hotel photo, she put up a new one. This time it was a restaurant. A specific one Caroline recognized. A place Preston had told her was a client dinner thing, nothing interesting, the last Thursday of the previous month. Brooke had photographed the breadbasket and the wine and tagged the restaurant without tagging anyone else. But the caption was, "When someone actually listens when you talk." 2 weeks after that, another one. A blurry, half-lit selfie with a man's shoulder just visible at the edge of the frame. Carefully cropped, but the blazer was Preston's. Caroline recognized the fabric. She had given him that blazer for his birthday. She was building a file. She did not mean to build it into anything. She was simply documenting what was happening, because documentation was how she managed things she couldn't control yet. But then Brooke posted the 4th one, and that changed. It was a Sunday afternoon. Brooke had gone to a rooftop bar, the one you could see, a famous sign, the one you could see from the highway, the one every out-of-town visitor asked to go to. She had posted a video from the rooftop, her hair in the breeze, laughing at something off camera, and in the background of the video, clearly visible, clearly readable, was a digital billboard across the street. It was one of the rotating spots, 30-second loops. Caroline's firm had actually pitched on that board 2 years ago and lost the bid to a bigger agency. She remembered the specs. She remembered the square footage. She remembered specifically how much a monthly rotation cost. She watched Brooke's video 3 times. Then she opened her laptop and started working. The call she made the next morning was not to the Billboard company. That came later. The first call was to her own creative director, a 26-year-old named Jonah, who had once designed a campaign that stopped 300,000 people mid-scroll and made 2 of them cry in the comments. Jonah answered on the second ring. "I need something designed," Caroline said. "For me, not a client. I need it by Thursday, and I need you to not ask me too many questions." A pause. "Okay, what's the concept, Simple," she said. 3 words, white text, on black, very large, the kind of thing you read from a moving car. She told him the 3 words. He was quiet for a moment. Then he said, "Caroline, yes. Is this what I think it is?" "Probably." Another pause. "I'll have it to you by Wednesday." He did. It was perfect. She looked at it on her screen and felt something she hadn't felt in weeks. A specific, focused calm, the kind that comes when a decision has finally been made and all the noise before it falls away. She did not want drama. She did not want a public argument. She did not want to be the woman screaming on the internet, the cautionary tale, the victim in someone else's story. What she wanted was something else. Something quieter and more precise. She wanted the truth to be visible. She wanted it to be visible in the exact place where Brooke had filmed herself laughing in the breeze, looking beautiful and untouchable, and like nothing in her life had any consequences. The Billboard company confirmed the slot on Thursday. The same rotating board. The same 30-second loop. A 30-day placement starting the following Monday. She did not tell Preston. She did not tell anyone except Rita, who looked at the mock-up and said, very softly, "Oh, Caroline," and then said nothing else. She told her lawyer. Raymond Chu reviewed it. He asked 2 questions about defamation. She answered them. There were no names on the board, no images, no identifying information. Just 3 words and a number. He said he didn't see a legal problem. He said, "This is your decision." "I know," she said. "I've made it." The board went up on a Monday. Caroline drove past it on her way to work. She did not stop. She did not take a photo. She kept driving. The 3 words read, "Hay has a wife." Beneath them, a phone number, the number for a domestic support organization she had quietly donated to for years, one that ran a resource line for women navigating infidelity and divorce. That was all. No name, no face, no story. Just 7 words, 3 on one line, 4 on the other, and a number to call if you needed help. She went to her office. She had a 9 o'clock meeting. She sat through it. By noon, 3 people she barely knew had texted her, asking if she had seen the billboard on 5th and Caldwell. By 2 in the afternoon, a local lifestyle blog had posted a photo of it with the caption, "Does anyone know the story behind this?" Talithfair by 4. It had been shared enough times that the blog post was trending locally. By evening, a news affiliate had picked it up. Not a big segment, just 30 seconds at the end of a broadcast about a mysterious billboard, with a story that people online were trying to piece together. Brooke called Preston at 4:23 p.m. Caroline knew this because she had 2 weeks earlier, with Raymond Chu's guidance and the help of a private investigator, obtained records of communications that would be relevant in the divorce proceedings. She didn't listen to the call. She didn't need to. She simply noted the timestamp. Preston came home that evening at his usual time. He kissed her on the cheek. He asked what was for dinner. He seemed, to all appearances, like a man who did not know what was happening. She fed the children. She helped Owen with a history project. She tucked Lily in and read her 2 chapters of the book they were working through together. She turned off Lily's light and stood in the hallway for a moment outside the door. Then she went downstairs. Preston was in the living room. He looked up when she walked in. She sat across from him. She folded her hands in her lap. "I know," she said. "All of it. The hotel. The account Brooke Dalton. 2 years at least, possibly longer." He went very still. "I've already met with Raymond Chu," she said. "I'm not here to fight with you. I'm here to tell you that I know and that I've been thinking about this for a while, and that I've made some decisions." She paused. "I want a divorce. I want it to be fair. And I want Lily and Owen to know as little of this as possible for as long as possible, which means I need you to not make this messy." He started to say something. "Not tonight," she said. "Tonight I'm asking you to hear me. That's all." He closed his mouth. She stood up. She went upstairs. She got into bed, pulled the blanket up, and looked at the ceiling in the dark until she fell asleep. The billboard ran for 30 days. In that time it was photographed and shared several thousand times by people who drove past it, walked past it, or saw it from the rooftop bar across the street, a detail that did not escape the attention of the people who had seen Brooke's video. The connection was made publicly, in the comments section of the lifestyle blog, and then in a longer piece a local journalist wrote for an online magazine under the headline, "He has a wife," the billboard that started a conversation. The journalist did not know who had placed the ad. She wrote a piece that was less about the specific story and more about a broader phenomenon. The lengths people go to when they feel invisible. The strange way that public space becomes personal when private betrayal gets too large to hold alone. It was a thoughtful piece. Caroline read it twice. Brooke's Instagram went private the same week the news affiliate story aired. Then it went silent. Then the account disappeared entirely. Preston moved into a hotel, a different one, 2 weeks after the conversation in the living room. He was not dramatic about it. He took 2 bags and left on a Sunday afternoon, while the kids were at his mother's house. He had agreed, through Raymond Chu's counterpart, to be cooperative. He didn't want ugliness either. Whatever he had become in this marriage, he was still the father of 2 children who adored him, and that, Caroline supposed, was something to hold on to. She did not feel generous about it. But she felt clear about it, which was different. The hard part was the children. She had talked to a family therapist, a calm, practical woman named Dr. Patricia Henley, who specialized in children and divorce, before she said anything to Lily and Owen. Dr. Henley helped her plan the conversation, helped her find language that was honest without being harmful, helped her think through their questions in advance so she wouldn't be caught off guard. Lily cried and asked if Daddy was still going to come to her school play. Owen didn't cry. He got very quiet and then asked if it was something he did. That was the moment that nearly broke her. Not the hotel photo, not the credit card statements, not any of the conversations with lawyers or the weeks of performing normalcy at the dinner table. It was her son's face when he asked that question, 11 years old and already reaching for blame, already willing to fold himself into the shape of someone else's mistake. She held his face in her hands. "No," she told him. "This is not about you. Oh, this will never be about you. You are the reason I have handled this the way I have. Because you deserve parents who are honest, and because you deserve to see what it looks like when someone takes care of themselves without losing themselves." He didn't entirely understand. He was 11. But he leaned into her, and she held him, and they stayed like that for a while. People kept asking who had placed the billboard. Caroline never confirmed it. She never denied it. She gave no interviews. When the online magazine journalist sent her an email, she had figured out the connection eventually, the way journalists do. Caroline wrote back a single line. "Thank you for the piece. The number at the bottom of the billboard is worth sharing." The journalist shared it again. The domestic support line reported a significant increase in calls during the month the billboard ran. They sent Caroline a card, handwritten, that said, "We don't know your story, but we're grateful." She kept it in the drawer of her nightstand. 3 months after the billboard came down, the divorce was finalized. The settlement was fair. Preston had not fought hard, and Caroline had not asked for more than was right. They had a shared custody arrangement that Dr. Henley had helped structure around the children's school schedule and their emotional needs. Owen's soccer games, Lily's school play. The ordinary calendar of 2 children's lives reorganized around a new shape of family. The first night the kids spent with Preston was a Wednesday. Caroline came home to a quiet house. She had not been alone in her own home in 11 years. She stood in the kitchen for a long time, not doing anything, just standing. Then she opened a bottle of wine she had been saving for no reason in particular. She poured a glass. She sat at the island where she had sat on that first morning, the morning of the lamp, the morning everything changed. She thought about who she had been when Preston was there, and who she might be now that he was gone. She thought about Brooke Dalton, wherever she was, and felt almost nothing. A flicker of something that wasn't quite pity and wasn't quite indifference, but somewhere in between. She thought about Lily, who had asked that morning if they could get a dog. She thought about Owen, who had made her a card last week with a drawing on the front. A woman standing on a hill, arms wide, sun huge and yellow behind her. He hadn't said anything about it, just left it on the kitchen counter for her to find. She picked up her phone. She scrolled to Rita's contact. "Kids are at Preston's," she typed. "Wine is open. Come over." Rita replied in 40 seconds. "On my way. Do not start without me." Caroline smiled. "First real one in a long time, maybe." She set the phone down. She looked around the kitchen. The lamp on the counter she'd brought back from Charleston, the kids' drawings on the fridge, the coffee maker Preston had never figured out how to use correctly. Her house. Her life. She was still here. She had stayed in it. Not in the marriage, but in herself. There was a difference. She understood that now in a way she hadn't before. You can leave something without disappearing. You can lose something without being lost. Outside, a car turned into the driveway. Rita's headlight swept across the kitchen wall. Caroline got out a second glass.